Good morning this morning, and thank you and welcome to another episode of Beauty, Business, and Banking. And I am Rochelle Hunter Mosley. And today I have my friend Saraya. And Saraya is everything insurance, health, wellness, and everything, but we're going to practice and hone in on insurance. Saraya, tell us what you do.
Today.
Today.
Right. First,
Insurance today.
Insurance today.
Today.
Right. I wear many hats. So
Yeah.
thank you for that introduction. And Ro, when I tell you I'm impressed with the show, and I'm
you.
thankful that you invited me on today. So thank you very
Thank
much,
you.
friend.
You done made it to the
Appreciate
couch.
that. I made it to the couch, baby. Mama, we made it.
So tell us what you do, Saraya.
So yes, my name is Saraya, and like Rochelle said, amongst the many things that I am involved with that it surrounds health and wellness, one of the things I particularly own is a Medicare agency, and we do all types of insurance.
Okay.
So we do health insurance, life insurance, income protector, final, in the life policies. We do pretty much all the insurances and with multiple carriers as well.
Okay. So I know when you first started talking to me about insurance, I was like, I got enough insurance. I don't want to do this anymore. I don't want to get any more insurance. So why is insurance important?
Right.
Why?
Right. So insurance is important for everybody because if you could protect your phones with insurance, and if you could protect all the other things that you put insurance on, that you're required to put insurance on, that does not add to the value of your life,
Wow.
meaning like protecting your life, why wouldn't you put insurance on your life?
Right.
And for me, just outside of being in the business, it's so important because we a lot of times overlook how important insurance is, and we see families that struggle with burial and they struggle with the loss of jobs, and all of that stuff. Insurance can help all of that.
Right. Right. So as a beauty professional, right, what would be some good insurances for a beauty professional?
Well, you got it all, bro.
Well,
You
I mean,
got all- you
listen,
got
but
it
I'm
all.
trying to share.
And I am so,
I'm
and
so
I'm
trying to
excited about that
share.
because, like I was telling you earlier, that usually when it comes to people investing in themselves, they typically take the shortcut,
Right.
and that's always the route that people normally do. Oh, I got to do something for myself. Okay, we'll hold off on that. Not right now.
Let me buy my Chanel bag
Let me get
first.
my bag. My kid has to go to school, the sitter, the this. It's always 1,000 reasons why you can't do the things that you need to do to invest in yourself.
Right.
To protect yourself. You're your biggest asset.
Right.
And insurance is one of those things. So for business insurance, like first of all, you own a business. So when you open your business, most landlords are going to want you to have insurance on their property.
Right.
That's the first.
100%.
That's on the moving of the
100%,
business. You
yep.
can't even finish the lease. That you can't start a thing until you have insurance on the actual property.
Absolutely.
And so that's number one. Then when you're in the business, you want to protect yourself. Like especially somebody in the beauty business, because your hands is your greatest asset.
100%.
Your back, standing on your feet all day long, and everything else that comes with the life of being in the world of beauty.
Right.
Right? And so insurance becomes important because, say for instance, and I'm going to use you as an example because you gave me permission.
Yes,
So normally I
100%.
would not be
100%.
talking to business,
Yep.
but you have an income protector policy. You have an accident and sickness protection policy, which is going to assist you outside of the you being a patient in the hospital. So if you ever have to take an ambulance, or if you
Right.
ever have to go to City MD or one of the local urgent care facilities because you feel sick, you sneeze, you think you might have COVID, any of those types of things, and you want to walk in, the number one reason why you would probably say no is because you're like, I'm not leaving my work where I'm making money to go run up in urgent care and lose money because the client is sitting here.
Right.
Right?
Right. 100%. That's why Charlie came early. I was 7 months pregnant with Charlie.
Oh, wow.
And it wasn't because I didn't have insurance, but because I didn't want to leave my clients.
What?
Right? But I did not have that insurance that you told me to have, because I probably would have been like, oh, I'm out of here.
Right.
I'm
Right.
gonna
Right.
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 So I was very reluctant about leaving, and I was feeling bad, 7 months pregnant. This
So how
baby
did you
inside
let
of
her go?
me, because this baby was inside of me saying, "Mom, I feel like I'm coming out. I feel like I'm coming out." I just was not feeling well.
Okay.
And I said, you know what? Let me just go to my appointment, because I was going to cancel my doctor's appointment. And I do think that had I had a different type of insurance, something that was going to protect me when I'm not working, I probably would have been more apt to be like, I'm out of here.
I'm outta
I'm
here.
not coming to work today.
Right.
But a lot of us don't have that luxury
Right.
to say that we're not coming to work today because of lack of insurance.
Yeah. And it's totally affordable for
Right.
the most part, because if you could dress yourself and get to work and have all the other expenses that it takes for you to, buy clothes and look presentable and do all of that stuff, you're talking about an average policy for somebody that is our age ranging about $100 and something a month.
Right.
So we spend that on meals in a restaurant.
But let me tell you a short story. When in 2017, I had found out that I had a chronic ear infection because I had my vertigo and everything going on, and I didn't even know I had vertigo until then. And wound up getting I was supposed to be just getting tubes in my ear and some type of constructive eardrum surgery. Come find out, with the chronic ear infection, it had started to make a hole in my skull. Right? Thank God that my ENT was also a plastic surgeon. So he was able to take the cartilage out of my ear right here and put it in my head. What? Right? So I wound up being out of work for almost 3 months.
Oh, wow.
And thank God that I had insurance. I had short-term liability insurance. But listen though, but let me tell you how God worked. About 3 months before that, I was going through my insurances, and I said, you know what? I don't think I need this. It's only paying me $100 a day. I don't even know why I would even need this. Something told me, Rochelle, is only what costing you $50, $60 a month. Go ahead and keep it, because you never know when you're going to need it. $100 a day wound up getting me $2,800 to $3,000 a month. So I was able to pay rent, buy food, do the little things I needed to do until I got back to work. So that money definitely came in hand for me to have that insurance. Think about if I wouldn't have had that insurance in off three months. I couldn't even lift my head up off the pillow. We got to show pictures of that too, Asher. I couldn't even lift my head up off the pillow to walk to the bathroom by myself, let alone trying to bump and curl somebody.
Yeah.
So thank God.
Thank God. And I'm going to say it like this, you goddamn right. And this is the whole purpose of having the insurance, because at the end of the day, you don't know what's going to happen in the future because it hasn't happened yet. So why not protect yourself? And that's the thing that's overlooked. So we see a lot of times now, I work in a business where I also do health insurance, and a lot of folks are seniors and they're, aging, and they pass away. And a lot of these families are raising money from other family members who also don't have money so that they could cover the cost of the funeral expenses.
Aren't you tired of frying chicken to bury people?
I never did in the first place.
Let me tell you something. Well, I'm going to tell you, I haven't literally fried chicken, but I have been called on several occasions to help out with burial. Right? And I'm going to be very honest with you. I told my mother, she's still living, and she's, and she's okay right now. But I told her straight up, I said, lady, if you don't get insurance, I'm going to burn you.
Yeah.
And I'm not playing.
Yeah.
Because I'm going to have to do it the least expensive way, so it's not such a burden on the family.
Right.
And I wasn't being mean.
Right.
But I was just saying, I wasn't asking you to pay for it.
Right.
I was just asking you to get it. I will pay the premium for you. You make whoever you want.
Right.
Whoever's a responsible person, even if it's not me.
Right.
You just need to have some kind of insurance so that you're buried properly.
Right. And I mean, I love the way you tell people, you don't just get the stuff for yourself. So you got insurance for yourself, but
Absolutely.
I constantly see you advocating to people of how important it is for them to have insurance. And I love that about you, because you want to make sure that the community, you work on your community to uplift them and get them doing things that's going to help them be in a better position, because it's not a game when somebody passes away and everybody is already mourning the person's loss, but then now you can't pick up whatever the person had going
Right.
on with their life, and they have children, and the kids might need to go to school and all of that. And typically when we look at a person's needs for insurance, all of that stuff is calculated. So we'll look at how much insurance you need. Do you have assets? You know, what do you need to protect for yourself? Do your children need to go to school, college? If you pass away, you know, what is your spouse going to do if you pass away, if they need to pick up on all the finances themselves? Because most people who do have insurance, if you're with a partner and the partner is, you know, paying the bills and then they pass away, how are you going to manage that?
Right.
Everybody's lives is at stake at that point of what the future looks like.
Right.
So this is a way for you to be responsible. The one thing that we know for sure is that none of us are going to make it out of here alive.
Right.
Not one of us.
Right.
If people across the globe say that we have nothing in common, that's the one thing that we know we all have in common: black, white, Asian, whatever.
Right.
None of us are going to make it out of here alive.
None of
so
us.
if you know that, and you know you were promised that, why would you not protect what is going to happen to your legacy should that day come?
Right.
Whether it's unexpected or not.
Right. So are you ever too old to get insurance?
Yeah, actually, if you exceed a particular age, not only does it become more costly, but at a certain age, no insurance company is going to want to willingly insure you.
Wow.
Because if you're closer to your time of passing, you know, that means that it's a liability for the insurance company. They are going to have to pay out on something that you may not have lived long enough to pay into.
Wow.
So, you know, there is an age where it's a cutoff. I hate to say it like that, but I'm just keeping it real.
It's a cutoff age.
And there's also certain seniors, certain companies will write a policy for final expense. And final expense is simply just a few dollars, 10,000, 15, 20. Sometimes it goes up to 50,000, but it's literally what it sounds like. It takes care of the final expenses, the casket, you know, whatever comes with that on the day, the memorial services, you know, just whatever the cost of your burial is, that's what the final expense policy is. If you're going to take a limo to the gravesite, if you're going to dress the deceased, or if you're gonna, you know, all of those expenses would be what you would use in a final expense policy. And in that situation, insurance companies some of them will write the policy up.
Right.
And it is very costly.
Wow.
It is very costly, hundreds of dollars a month at that age. But the most important thing that I tell young people is that the earlier you get your insurance, the better. Because say, for instance, if you know, Charlie is how old?
18.
18. And she could get a whole life policy right now at 18 that would last her what? Her whole life.
Right.
And I'm talking about for pennies on the dollar.
Right. So, being that we're talking about the kids now. So I've had insurance on both of my kids, right? And I was able to take money out of it for her college, and so it had cash value.
Cash value.
Right. What do you think about?
I love that because that's what a lot of parents do, especially when they know that they have time in the policy for the policy to mature. So what happens is, like what you experience is that, you know, if you have a whole life policy, it has cash value to it. And that cash value could be used. You can borrow from yourself.
Right. I've done.
You can borrow that.
Just to be super transparent, I've done that numerous times.
Yeah.
I even had my down payment for my house.
Look at that.
I bought a car.
Look at that.
I don't have a car note. Bought a car with that. And so, needless to say, I have been set up over the years by some really, really good people. And knowing some really good people like you to tell me what to do, how to maintain what to do, how to like, Ro, you can do this. Other people are doing it.
Yeah.
You know, you qualify for this stuff.
Well, you didn't trick yourself out of your spot.
No.
And a lot of us do.
Right.
Because we're so worried about all these other things that are going on that we actually have no control over. What's going on with the family, who said what, you know, all the attachments. So don't, you didn't, and I always say this to you. I love the fact that you're such a risk taker, but you don't really need to be a risk taker to buy insurance.
Right.
But I love the fact that you're willing to at least take a listen to something that you know is going to make your life greater.
Right.
Even if it's later.
Right.
But that's the beauty about life insurance policies is it doesn't have to be only for a death benefit. It is also, you utilized it as a
life
living
benefit
expense as well.
Right, a life benefit.
And now if you go into business wise and you have policies, a lot of times you're able to utilize your policies in business as well as an asset to borrow money, to borrow against money, collateral. That is valued at something that is a high value.
Okay.
It's almost like going into the bank and you got 10 properties and you like, you know what, put all these properties together. What is the value of it? And that's what I'm going to use as collateral to actually borrow money from. Your life insurance policy, if you ever borrow anything, if you notice on the application, it'll ask you, do you have a life insurance policy? And because it's an asset.
Right.
And that's just life insurance right there. You have the income protection, which is what we talked about earlier. And that is if you are out of work and you need to still have income because you're paying bills, that income protection will pay you out a specific percentage of your income to make sure that you're able to continue life as normal while you're out. So this way you don't have to be afraid that you're sick. And, most people are sick and they go to work anyway.
Right. And I don't want people to get discouraged by it. If you making, we just going to say this number of $7,000 a week or whatever you make in a month, or a month you're making $7,000 a month. And your insurance policy said, okay, well, your insurance policy will tell you that they can give you $4,000 a month. Think about it. When we were out for COVID, we learned how to do more with less.
And some with nothing at all.
No, I mean, we want all this money. We want all this money. But you don't really need all this money to really maintain your life. I had more money during COVID. I paid off more bills during COVID. And I did it on way less money.
Yeah.
But what I did think about, too, during COVID, we did not shop.
Right.
We did not go out to eat.
Right.
We did not do all the things. Right. So I just thought about, if I really wanted to be able to afford these insurances that I need for my life, then maybe if I pull back off of some of the things that I was doing, going out, doing this, doing that, then maybe I can afford the insurance that I need for my life. And it makes a whole lot of sense to me because guess what? We did it before.
And you have, and you used it to your advantage. So it works.
Right.
We know this.
100%. We did it before.
Right.
Make it way less.
Right. And that's one of the things that we learned in COVID is that we really, like, what my belief is that God has for us is that we have to go back to the basics.
Right.
And the basics is being able to learn how to grow your own food. You know, I'm always going to be plugging that in. Learn how to take care of yourself. We don't learn that in school. We learn about mechanics and this and that. They don't even teach that stuff in school no more. When I was growing up, you could
home
get
economics.
What
happened to home economics?
Gone. Cook, clean, all the stuff that most young people don't know how to do right now. We stepping over shit, on top of shit, over shit, or what. They miss home economics because home economics didn't exist for them.
Right.
But I'm saying that when we was in school, we had all those different things, trades and all of that. Not anymore. So how else do you learn how to take care of yourself?
Right.
And this is what we were forced to do back when we were in the pandemic. We had to learn from scratch how to deal with our emotions, manage our emotions, because we were stuck in the house. We didn't have that personal contact with people.
Not at all.
Not at all. What I mean? So
not at all. We didn't have that contact. And think about that. That not having that contact helped a lot of us, and then it also brought the crazy out of a lot of us. Because we also learned that we can't deal without other people.
No.
We need other people to validate us. We need somebody to be pushing us and pushing us and pushing us. A lot of people went crazy.
Yeah. And they still are.
Yeah.
And it is scary.
Yeah.
But it's just information now.
Yeah.
It's just information. So now we use that information because you could learn a lot from watching stuff that happened to other people.
Right.
You know, I
100%.
look at that like when I grew up and we saw drug addicts, you know, dope fiends leaning across the street and all of that. I knew that I didn't want to be like that.
Right. 100%.
So that
Me
person
too.
might have had value
Me too.
even if they didn't know it or
Me
not.
too.
Because
Because
I knew I
I say
didn't.
either you learn what to do or you learn what not to do.
What not to do.
100%. Either way, you're gonna learn something.
You
You're
gonna learn
You're gonna learn today.
You know, if you decide. And so yeah, and so people, I think it's just information for
Right.
us. So the people who are willing to be more conscious about what they see and what they see going on in front of us as a result of whatever
Right.
from the pandemic, you could decide how you want your life to be. Because at any point you could change your mind, and that's the gag.
That is.
God was
You
like,
can
all right,
change your
here's the
mind
prescription,
anytime.
but guess what? I'm giving you free will. And that was the joke. Like, you hilarious, God. You gave us free will to do what? To mess it up.
Mess it up. Mess it up. And that's what we stay doing. Messing it up. Messing it up. We fix it and mess it up again. Yeah, we're destroying it. We're destroying it. But I want to go back to one thing, because I know a lot of our beauty professionals want to know more about our long-term and short-term disability.
Right.
And I know, and the reason why I'm on it too, because I'm a woman of a certain age now, and I want to know what are the benefits of having one or the other, or even both.
So the short-term disability is for up to 3 months on most policies. So if you know you'll be out for a short amount of time, like you said, you went in and you had the ear done and they worked on the back, your brain, and you were out for 3 months. So that's short-term disability. It's only going to cover you for that short amount of time at the income that you purchase, because you can purchase levels. You can say, well, I want to take out this level, and that level is going to give me 80% of my money. This level is going to give me 90% of my. So that's short-term. And then long-term, you can take out 1 year, you could do 2 years, and in some instances 5 years.
Okay.
Right. So, you know, in the middle, I normally would suggest for clients 2 years. Because of that point that I told you about before, you just don't know. I had a family member who allows me to share her story, but she works in corrections, and she was attacked by one of the inmates who was in the juvenile facility, and she was all insuranced up. You know, and she didn't know that she would need to take as much time as she did, but she ended up being out for 2 years.
Wow.
But when you go into those types of professions, it's already known. It's part of the business trade for you to get insurance.
Right.
And this is what should be happening in the beauty business.
Right.
Because you know that there aren't any other outlets for you to protect you in the instance that you need to take leave.
Right.
So that beauty business. I would love to see the beauty business adopt insurance as the culture of the business.
Right. Well, that's what I'm here for.
So in corrections, they do that, but she was out for 2 years.
Because the thing is about our industry, Saraya, it's like we out here on our own.
Yeah.
Right. And when we start off, I started off very early doing hair doing hair at 15 years old before I even got my license. When I got my license, you know, I had, you know, a couple people telling me a few things, but nowhere near the information that I have today to share. So that's why I said there's no way in the world I could just sit on this information and not share it, because I have so many people, over 40, 50, maybe 60 stylists came through my salon over the past 30 years, maybe even more. And none of us are set up. None of us were prepared for what happened during COVID. None of us were prepared to lose so many family members and friends. And think about how many of those people that were not set up. You know, so I feel like it's my duty, it's my mission, it's my purpose to make sure that at least the beauty industry. That's it. I'm gonna attack y'all, because let somebody else do it. Let somebody else do another industry. I have to say my beauty people, because I'm a beauty person, and I know how it was for me when the first time I went to the doctor when I was 21 years old. First moved to New York, I got strep throat. I did not have any health insurance, and I couldn't even swallow. I couldn't swallow my own saliva at all. I couldn't swallow water.
Painful.
Anything. I could barely talk. Had to go to the emergency room. I stayed home for 3 days before I went to the emergency room because I didn't have any insurance. When I got to the hospital, I'm in there. Every time they came in my room, they had a thing on my bed that said I had no insurance. Every time a doctor came in, they
kidding
said,
me?
"Oh, she don't have any insurance."
Yeah.
Oh, at the time, Miss Jasper. Miss Jasper don't have any insurance.
Yeah.
Oh, she don't have. So I felt like they were treating me bad.
And they were.
They were treating me
probably.
bad. They was
Right.
going to other people,
Right.
giving me all the generic medicine.
Right.
You know, hardly taking care of me. And I said,
This is a
God,
real thing.
the only thing I kept saying, God, if you get me out of this one, I promise you, I'm never gonna not have insurance. I promise. And I never not had insurance.
That's right.
Since then,
That's
at
right.
least health insurance.
That's right.
When I found out that I could get what is it, Medicaid, Medicare? No, not Medicaid. What is it? The one the government give you?
Medicaid.
When I found out that I was eligible, I went and got it.
Right.
Because I went and got what I could afford at
Right.
I was
Right.
only 21
Right.
years old.
No,
And
this is smart. Now let's talk about that because Medicaid is, now we talked about life insurance, and life insurance is very important too. We didn't even get to talk about what the accident and sickness protection is. That's more of the things like how you go to urgent care or you take an ambulance.
being that I'm so adventurous, right? Is this accident insurance good?
Hell yeah.
Right, because I jump off. I go to Vegas and jump off. What's that big
Right.
deal?
But there's also extra, there's an addendums in those accident and sickness protection policies that also give you death benefit money as well. So if you decide you want to go jumping off the bridge in Vegas because they told you that it was a roller coaster or whatever reason. Right. So in addition to your life insurance policy, you also will typically, and I believe the one that you have an additional 100,000 in death benefit.
Okay.
In addition to whatever your regular normal life insurance policy is. So, and this is also covers like if you have to get a surgery and you have to travel for the surgery, it will cover you with a certain stipend for your family and friends to come and support you as well.
Oh, wow.
Their car service there.
That's what I
their
have?
hotel room.
That's what I got?
That's the one you
Oh,
have.
wow.
The hotel room for them, because think about it, if you get sick and you need the support and they say, well, such and such got to drive you home, you can't leave home, and you got to bring your kids up there or your aunts or whoever is got your back. Now what if they don't have the money for you to get sick? They just getting by every day. Now you sick and they trying to come support you. Who gonna pay for the hotel?
Wow.
And the car and the food that you have to eat every day.
So that's what I got.
That's a part of the accident
what
and
I
sickness.
got.
Right.
That's what I got.
Right. And then you have the one when you in the emergency room. So it'll pay you for a bunch of things. So if you basically show up in the emergency room and you are diagnosed with something, you'll get paid. If you break something, you get paid. If you this. So they're actually paying you for all the injuries that you're sustaining and coming to the hospital for.
Wow.
That's the accident. Then you have the life insurance, and that covers your life, right? And you can borrow from that with the cash value in the policy if you have a whole life insurance.
Right.
The difference between that and a term insurance is that term is exactly what it is. It's for a term in time.
But so if you
term of time.
can you change it to whole?
You can actually, depending on if the policy, where the policy is with it. There's a lot of stipulations around that, but you can. For my daughter, when I first got her a whole life policy, she had part term and part whole life, and then I converted it.
Okay.
All right, so you can do that, but I would say that maybe at a younger age, that's better. But remember, term is only for a period of time, and it's usually 10, 20, or 30 years.
Right.
So here's the gag on that is that if you get term insurance, because it's cheaper, right, much cheaper, when you would be paying $150 for $100,000 policy at an older age. When I say older, that's subjective. I mean, it could be late 40s, 50s, whatever, but that, I'm just giving you an example. A term policy could cost you $50. So people would gravitate to that. But okay, but say you're 50 years old, right? And you took out a term policy that is 10 years old or 20 years old, and you make it to be 80 years old.
It's gonna
20 years, that's it. So normally if you didn't do something to have another policy or convert or anything, you're now going to have to start fresh from the age that you are. And if it was already a lot of money when you were 50, what do you think it's going to be when you're 70? You'll be looking at one of those final expense policies that cost you that is just for you to bury yourself.
Wow.
So that's some of the things we would think about. But I was really going for the conversation about you affording going for Medicaid.
Right. Go ahead.
During the hard times, because that's insurance as well too.
Right.
So Medicaid is offered through your state. And the state will typically, it's income driven. So there's an income federal guideline for Medicaid that you have to, if you make that amount or less, then you would qualify for that insurance through the state.
Okay.
Which is the Medicaid.
Okay.
So a lot of my seniors, and I do have other clients outside of seniors, but I run this agency and I have a lot of Medicare clients as well too, which is the largest public health insurance in the world.
Okay.
All right. And that's federal. So Medicare is when you, I don't want to skip around much.
No, you don't have to. No, because I had a question real quick. So if you have Medicare, no, Medicaid, if you have Medicaid,
yes.
Right? And say I get to a certain age and, because this is one of the questions somebody DM me about. She said, she said she has Medicaid. Okay. And she says once you get to a certain age, why is it once you get to a certain age, Medicare B it costs more? She said that it's like an extension of Medicaid. It's called Medicare.
Medicaid and Medicare is two separate things.
It's an extension of Medicare.
Right. So I'll explain that to you. So Medicaid is state and Medicare is federal. Most people receive Medicare, which is the red, white, and blue card.
Right.
If they worked 10 years in this country, we're in the United States. If they work 10 years in this country, or if they have 40 quarters in there for, that they worked in this country, right? Which is 40 quarters is equivalent to 10 years.
Okay.
At the age of 65, if you fit that criteria, you're now eligible for Medicare. So if you look at your pay stubs, you see they take out money from Medicare.
FICA, all the people.
This is what you paid for. You paid for this for you to have this insurance in your years, right?
Okay.
So Medicare is the red, white, and blue, and most people receive Medicare once they hit 65 if they worked 10 years in this country. And the reason why I say in this country, because a lot of people come from other countries. They come, they work here. They might not be documented, and that matters. You know what I mean? So that's Medicare, and that's federal. So you can go anywhere in the states with your Medicare, from North Carolina to Virginia, without doing any changes except address change, right?
Okay.
Because it's federal and it's across all the states, right?
Okay. Medicare B.
Now, you also can get Medicare A and B.
Oh, okay.
A and B, right? Because there's 4 parts to Medicare.
Okay.
There's 4 parts. There's A and B, which is hospitalization and outpatient services. Outpatient is clinics. So if you go into a clinic, that's Part B. If you go into a hospital, Part A covers that.
Okay.
But then there's also C and D. And Part D is prescription drugs. Have you ever seen people talk about Part D? Part D, that's prescription drugs.
Okay.
Now, Part C is part of Medicare, but you have to apply for that. That's where you attach the plan to your insurance. So you would pick a plan, and Part C gives you all those additional, we call it ancillary benefits.
Okay.
So in addition, that's what we call Medicare Advantage. So right now we're in open enrollment season, and I know that 1 million plus clients seniors in particular are afraid because they're seeing all of these, it's open enrollment. You need to do something. There's changes with your medication, your Medicare. You got to do something right now. They're talking about Part C, and they want to interest you in the Medicare Advantage, because Medicare Advantage is your extra benefits.
Okay.
Right. When you only have Medicare A and B, it only covers you 80%.
Right.
So what's going to happen if you get sick or hurt, or you got to have a procedure in the hospital or surgery or anything, and you only have Medicare that's covering 80%? Guess who has to cover the other 20%? You.
Right. Okay.
Now, I would know nothing about Medicare if I didn't have an agency. So
Right.
this is,
I know.
This is.
But why you think you on the couch?
This is very.
Why do
very
you think
important.
you on the couch? You ain't on this couch for nothing.
This is so important, because imagine living our whole life and then becoming a senior and having no idea how this works.
Right.
And it is intimidating, because there's a lot of information.
But it's even not having the idea how it works, not being a senior. I'm not a senior, right? And I still don't know.
Right.
I'm not 100% clear on how it works.
Right.
So
now there is another part that I failed to mention, that you do age into Medicare at 65 if you fit those criteria that I mentioned. but you also could receive Medicare at an early age if you are disabled and you've been on Social Security disability for 2 years or more.
Right. Okay.
So if you're 15 and you have a disability and you've been documented with a disability, and you've been on Social Security disability for 2 years or more, you qualify for Medicare. So that's why when you see young people with Medicare under the age of 65, those are the reasons why they were able to acquire it.
Okay.
Because they are disabled and they were on Social Security disability for 2 years or more.
Okay.
All right.
So
and don't forget, these are two separate things, Medicare and Medicaid.
Okay.
Now, I want to answer your friend's question.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay. So when you do receive Medicare, there's a cost to Part B. And that Part B was what she described. Your friend said, why am I paying $170 for that Part B? That is not from the insurance company, because a lot of people think, well, if they're on United Health, or if they're on Blue Cross Blue Shield, or if they're on WellCare, if they're on Health First, these are all plans that are in our local area. Why is my plan charging me that $170 off my $174, I believe it is now, because it's gone up tremendously over the past couple of years. That is for your Part B premiums.
Right.
And that is not charged by the carrier. That is from the federal government with your Medicare. Okay. Now, most people will see that come out of their Social Security check, because now once they aged in at 65 and they're receiving Social Security from working all their life, they see that 174 come out, and the first thing they do is drop it. Because they like, I'm not paying that. I'm not paying that. Well, guess what you just did? You took away your outpatient services. So if you got to go to the clinic, guess who's not going to be seen? You.
Right.
You don't have Part B.
Oh. So she should keep it.
She should absolutely keep it, because the thing is when you are applying for Part B, when you didn't take it, when you were elected to take it, not only do they charge you a penalty, but it's also a process to get it back. You have to be on their scheduled cycle for them to reissue you that. And that affects when you go to the doctor, because if you don't minimally have A and B, which covers you 80% when you have the two, imagine if you have to go to the doctor, you're not even fully covered for that.
Wow. Okay. So I know
I know that's a lot.
No, but look how many times they can watch this video and see it again and again and again just to know what to do.
Right.
So I just have two more questions before we leave. So as a beauty professional, right? If I have Medicaid, right? And now I'm aging up now I'm 65. I still have Medicaid. Would I be eligible to continue to have it?
Right. So this is a great question. I like this question, because now I know that beauty professionals, and you correct me if I'm wrong, sometimes they're not on the books.
Right. No, I'm saying that we are on the books.
Because
to the ones that are on the books.
Okay, so
that are on payroll.
Right.
I'm talking about the ones that are qualified.
Okay, no, because this is a real thing.
Right, it is a real thing.
Let's talk.
Yeah.
So my thing is if you're on the book and you're a beauty professional, then 9 times out of 10 you will not be receiving Medicaid, because Medicaid is income driven. So you have to be low income in order to qualify for Medicaid. And there's an income federal guideline.
Oh.
Before now, this year the income guideline changed, but that income guideline before today was $968.
A what?
A month. So if you make $968 a month or less, you qualify for Medicaid. Now, most people qualify for Medicaid in the pandemic because they wasn't working.
Right.
And they might not have been receiving any other money. So guess what? If I don't have no income and I don't have no disability insurance or no income protecting policy or no short-term disability policy, guess what? I have no income. Wow. So now I could apply for Medicaid because you're under that guideline of the 968 at that time. Now, with the changes in the economy, because a lot of this is important to understand how the economy works.
Right.
Because all of that works with what we do every day in our everyday life. It's all connected to how the economy is ran.
Right.
But in this current economy, they raised the Social Security amount for people who were receiving Social Security. So by default, they raised the income guideline for Medicaid.
Wow.
Because that stuff goes hand in hand. So when they raise the income guideline now for a household of one, it's about approximately $1,500 a month. Don't quote me on this. It might be $1,538 or $1,569, but approximately $1,500 a month or less, you qualify for Medicaid, and that's it.
Wow.
So to answer your question, if you are a hair professional in the beauty business,
it's a lot.
9 times out of 10, if you're making money in your business, you would not receive Medicaid because Medicaid is income driven and you have to be low income in order to qualify for Medicaid. Now, to answer the question about having Medicaid and Medicare for seniors, if you are a senior who has Medicaid and then you become Medicare eligible, yes, you can have the two. Because remember what I taught you earlier, Medicare A and B covers 80%, and then Medicaid as a secondary covers 20%. So now 80 and 20 is how much?
Right.
100%.
Right.
Now you're 100% covered, and then you pick a plan, and then the plan comes in and offers you the extra benefits. So right now, if you got Medicaid and Medicare, that's like having an Amex card.
Yeah.
Okay. Hey, I'm joking, but I'm not joking. But the plans, they take care of you.
Yeah.
You get an OTC benefit, so that's a debit card that you could use at like Dwayne Reed, CVS, right?
Yeah.
You see the seniors in there, and they're buying things that they could take care of themselves with toothpaste.
My mother called me every year. You need alcohol,
right? Alcohol. They sharing this with the church.
Every month.
They buying it because there's so much stuff you can't use it all. So they give you that. You could get car services to and from your doctor's visits. You get free silver sneaker, which is gym membership to New York Sports Club.
All of that.
All of that. Yo, this is like Amex benefits.
Wow.
For people who have both. So that's just a little bit to answer your question because you wanted to know if they can.
But this was very informative though. It's very informative because you don't know what you don't know.
You don't know what you
don't know what you don't know. And especially when we still going home putting our money under our mattress.
Right.
And not getting acclimated to what's happening with this program.
Right.
We get lost.
Right. But you could also, as a paid professional, buy insurance.
Right.
So you don't have to just say, because I make too much, I can't get Medicaid.
Right.
You can buy insurance. You can buy insurance
with that money under your bed.
And it's not that costly. The state you can pay for a plan that they have plenty of plans that you could pick from with all of the carriers that don't require you to do, go crazy with it, and you can cover yourself.
Okay.
So it's just a matter of, I think what you're teaching here is mindset.
Yes.
This is not about them understanding
growth mindset.
This is mindset.
Or you got to have a growth mindset. You can't, because if you don't have a growth mindset, you get stuck.
Yeah.
And stagnant and not understanding what's going on, and we find out everybody in the shop frying chicken to bury you because you didn't want to grow. For real, you didn't want to grow.
It's true.
It's true. But before we leave, what type of advice do you have for our young people? Because our young people think that they're not going to get 50, and now young people also believe that 50 is middle age. 50 is not middle age because how many people to live 100? We don't know a lot. So when you're in your 20s and 30s, that's middle age. Believe it or not.
Right.
For a lot of y'all young people.
Well, what I would say is what I did for myself, and that was invest in myself. Now, let me be clear. Investing in yourself is not getting your boobs done and your waist cinched and a BBL, I think they call it.
Yes.
BBL. That's not what I mean when I say invest in yourself.
Right.
I mean, if you want to take that class that teaches you how to braid because you want to make the extra money, even if you don't see yourself doing it for the rest of your life, take the class. If you feel like Rochelle's doing a hair color class and you doing color of your hair at home and you want to save money, take the class. Like, pay for the help that you need. You don't necessarily, like a lot of young people are opting out of going to college. Right. And that's fine. That's fine. Because had we known that this social media era was going to bring so many millions of dollars for people, I'm not going to lie. I mean, it's just amazing. They have something that we didn't have.
Right.
So we're in a whole different world right now, and they taught us that.
Right.
They brought us to the social media, and they collapsed decades into days for us by teaching us that we can use our likeness to make money.
Yeah.
YouTube channels and all this other stuff. It's plenty of money. Sponsorships, all of this stuff. I would say invest in yourself. Don't necessarily subscribe to the old things that people have been doing. You gotta go to school for 4 years, this and that. If you don't want to do that, that's fine. But if you see a teacher that you think can teach you something, pay that person to learn what you don't know.
Right.
Because you need the experience, and doing certain things, I realized at my age is a language involved. When I started, I thinking I want to invest in stock, it wasn't just about taking a class that was, and I love my classes.
I know you love a class.
You know I love my classes.
Well, this thing called me for a $10,000 class. Bro, it's only $10,000.
It's only $10,000.
This how we can do it. We could just get it. We can just pay in quarters. We can pay. We gonna pay $5.
That's what I'm saying.
But if we get 4 other people, we just pay $2,000. I mean, she's coming to me with these type of classes, and she's like, whatever, just give me $100. Give me $100 a month, and we're gonna take this class.
And we've done that.
Those are the kind of people that you young people, old people, whatever if you're in business, you gotta have people like that.
Have people
under your shoulder.
It's true.
Pushing you.
It's true.
Pushing you. Pushing you.
It's true.
Because why do you want to be the biggest fish in the doggone pond?
Yeah, it's
for
no
what?
need.
Because you want to eat all the fish?
It's no need.
Is that what you want to know?
Yeah.
No.
But that's my advice to young people. Invest in yourself, in the education.
I love it.
And like you said, Rose, surround yourself with people that can help to push you to where you need to go.
Because a lot of people say, we hold on to a lot of these cliches when hold on to like-minded people. No, I want the people that think way different than me.
Right.
Like mine.
Right.
I don't want you to have a mind like me. Like, I need you to have something else. I'm struggling. Don't want to have a mind like me.
Right.
No, I want to. No, I want to follow you and for you to help me because you have the mind that you have. You could bring something different to the table, right?
That's
and I can bring something different to the table for you.
I love that.
Yeah, I love it.
That.
No like minds. Y'all forget that like-minded.
Yeah, but these young people are clever today, man. Clever. That's how we sit in here.
That's why we sitting in here with all this.
Shout out to Cheers. Setting us up with the videography company. This is great.
Yes.
Yeah.
But thank you, Saraya. This has been a great show.
Thank you.
Very, very, very informative.
Thank you.
I know that my beauty professionals and along a lot of other people that don't understand insurance understand insurance now.
Oh, that's awesome.
So this has been good.
And I'm here for the help, so it doesn't have to end now.
100%.
And I, why I thank you right now, Ro, because out of all the things that I do, I very rarely sit and talk publicly about insurance.
Really?
People don't know me for the insurance.
My event on Monday, we're gonna. So I'm definitely introducing you, who you are, what you do, how you can help these people understand the insurance. Because a lot of people don't have it because they don't understand it either. They don't understand how beneficial it's going to be.
I appreciate
so we
your
opt
support.
out of it, 100%.
Your support system is the friends that we're talking to the young people about surrounding themselves with.
100.
And I have a great support system. Shout out to my husband who's here also. SO. You know what I'm saying? He's a great support system for me. Yeah. So I appreciate that.
And me too, because this whole platform thing.
Right. I mean, he's another one. He inspired that. Like, we watched him go from not being public.
Yeah,
like, he's a dude that never even wanted to talk.
Like, why
now
not?
He can't stop talking. Right. And he's making money doing it. So I'm inspired.
I love it. I'm inspired too. I'm inspired too.
Yeah.
Do you have any information you want to share about yourself so you can share with my platform so they know how to reach you?
Absolutely. So my email is info@olivesorganicgardens.com. And my Instagram is Saraya Cares, and I'll spell that S as in Sam, URAYYA Cares, CARES, because I do. And that's simple.
I love it. Good. Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So he did.
So I always like to start the show off with an icebreaker question, right? So you pick a card.
Oh, shoot.
What is
Let me put my glasses I make sure I see this right. Baby, here we go. You get ready to start some shit. Okay. How will relationships between men and women change in the next 25 years? Oof. This is a loaded question.
Unpack.
This is loaded. Well, I would have to tell you, Ro, that if it goes the way it's going right now and we don't change the trajectory of how we think, feel, act, and do in our relationships, mainly with ourselves first and then with our mates, that I don't see it becoming positive. And I'm a positive person. I typically am optimistic with a good outlook. But what I will say is that if we decide that we want to do one thing that is different that we can change, is just simple acts of kindness to each other. You know, it's things that I think we all could stand to work on. And if we could produce that, then the next 25 years, just off of that empathy and that kindness alone, we could have Black households being two parent households with healthy minded parents that are raising children to go out in the world and be productive members of their own life 1st before society. And that's my answer.
Okay, let me see.
And I'm sticking with
Okay,
it.
so you said, how will relationships between men and women change in the next 25 years? So what I'm thinking is that I've been practicing be, do, have for the past maybe 8 to 10 years, right? And be, do, have meaning you have to be, to do, to have. But what I have experienced in relationships and dating, that men do to have to be. They do to have to be. And they set themselves up in their minds to say that if I'm not making a certain amount of money, or if I'm not, driving a certain car or living a certain place, then I can't be who I need to be, right? And what I have learned is that if you can't be who you need to be, you can't be with who you want to be with. Because then you can have all the money and all the things, but then you can't be. So now you want to go all the way back to who you was dating in 99 and see if she's available, because now you realize that was the best girl, the best the best girl for you.
Right.
And I'm just like, it don't work like that. It doesn't work like that. I feel like relationships in the next 25 years, if we don't understand that we need to work together and that our 100% are going to look different, I think that we're gonna be doomed in the next 25 years if we don't understand that concept. Like my 100 ain't gonna look like your 100, and my 100 may not all be financial. Mine might be what I gotta do for you to make your 100 work. And I just don't think that we understand that concept, because everybody's looking for everybody to go 50-50. Who the hell bought that shit up? Who did that? Who started that? 50-50 is not possible. You can't get blood from a fucking turnip.
So you're saying that both people do need to contribute, but there's you can't decide what the percentage is.
No, you cannot to say, because you might make 200, he might make 90, but then he do all the other things that you don't know how to do.
Absolutely.
And I don't want to be no man.
Right.
I don't want to do what men do. I don't like all this woman equal rights and shit. I don't like all that. Because you can't pick and choose.
Right.
If you want to be equal, then you want to be 100% equal. So unless we figure out what it is, how we going to be, do, have together, and figure out this 100%, 50-50, we're not going to have any relationships. We're going to have what we have. Girls and girls.
Girls.
That's what we're gonna have, because you gotta be open to something different, and not expecting all the time for what it was back in the days. It's not like that. My 100 is gonna look different than your 100. Period. So I think we gotta wrap our brains around that.
Yeah.
It makes sense.
That. That makes a lot of sense, bro.
Yeah.
That makes a lot of sense. Yeah. You teaching them something good, not no bull crap.
That's what I'm trying. No, I'm doing it. I ain't trying. I'm doing it. Okay.
We got some good stuff.
That was good. I loved it.
Oh, you said we gotta do a toast. Okay.